Well, after making the highly controversial decision not to put its client on the witness stand, the defense rested its case today in the Casey Anthony trial, but not before another explosive round of testimony. Take a look.
Did you develop a relationship with Mr. Anthony?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was this an intimate relationship?
Yes. I didn't think that he could raise somebody that was capable of harming her child. And that's when he said it was an accident that snowballed out of control. But I was caught off guard with it, and by the time I looked up, he had tears in his eyes.
How much money did you or some member of your family get from the National Enquirer for selling your story?
$4,000.
And you felt that the National Enquirer was the one news source that you could trust to tell your story and not sensationalize it?
That's irrelevant to the issue, other than Mr. Ashton deciding to argue. And that's what this is, just more blah, 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 blah.
Definitely by the time she's a senior in high school, she was aware of the burial and the method of burial in the yard.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it your decision not to testify based upon consultation with your counsel?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
Well, this trial went from crazy to crazier today. Joining me now with reaction are attorneys Hannity-06-30-11-C and Arthur Idala, who's also a Fox News legal analyst. Guys, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Welcome. Okay, so the big news today is that the defense rested its case in the Casey Anthony trial without calling the defendant to the witness stand. Now, I know that defendants have a right not to testify on his or her own behalf, but come on, doesn't this just scream, Hannity, guilty?
Yeah, and of course no one can say that in the courtroom, but look at how Jose Baez opened. He talked about this outrageous story that was so far-fetched to begin with that people were waiting. I am sure the jurors were sitting, waiting day by day, when is it coming, when is it coming, and then the defense rests. Wait, where's the whole story? Where's the accident? Where is the incest, the molestation, all the unbelievable claims that they made, and the only way they could get that out was by Casey.
Do you think that the jury was also expecting to hear from Casey Anthony?
I do. I mean, with that type of story, who else could talk about what happened, not only with her daughter and finding her with her father and the reason that she reacted the way she did? And if they didn't hear from her, they're left with nothing, just the state's case.
So, Arthur, if the defense were so confident in their own story about the accidental drowning and that the mother panicked, why wouldn't they put her on the stand?
They basically couldn't put her on the stand because from day one, Monica, she's been telling lie after lie, different story, different. Remember when first she lied about her daughter even being missing. Then when she acknowledged she was missing, it was the babysitter and the boyfriend. Then she never knew where it was, but in opening statements we found out she knew how Kaylee died, when Kaylee died. She would have gotten so shredded on cross-examination it would have been worthless, except I think a juror wants to hear a mother look in their eyes and say, I didn't kill my baby. And I may have gotten a tattoo, I may have partied like a rock star because I'm nuts, but I didn't kill my baby.
And in fact, she has presented the exact opposite image, which is she just sits there almost like a sociopath and shows no emotion whatsoever, even when they're showing photographs of this dead little girl and her skull. Arthur.
Well, she actually, that was the one day I think she kept her head down the whole day, was when they showed the images of her daughter, falling apart or actually decomposed. What I think you're going to see is this jury convict her, maybe not on the evidence, Monica, but on almost general principles. The jury at this point has to have fallen in love with this little girl they've seen all these photos of and all these videos of, and there's only one person in that courtroom who's charged with killing this girl, and that's her mom. Maybe they won't get a top count conviction, but she will get convicted of something.
Hannity, let me ask you, you mentioned that the defense did not prove their initial allegations of an accidental drowning. In this case, there was no evidence to show that. They also failed to produce any evidence whatsoever of their charge that Casey Anthony had been molested by her own father and that it caused some sort of severe psychological trauma that could have led to her carrying the body in the trunk for a couple of days. They didn't prove that either. At all.
And you know, the defense, they don't have to prove anything. However, when they open and make all these claims, claims. That is what the jury is waiting for. And I'm pretty sure they're going to actually hold it against them now that not only has the state put on an unbelievably strong case, in my mind, circumstantial, piece upon piece, layer upon layer, but now they have made these outrageous claims against the family. I mean, who wants to hear that they are accusing her father of molesting her and then they get nothing? I mean, right there, they're going to get angered. You know, when Arthur was talking about Casey's reaction, he has it exactly right. I mean, he talks about the one day that she had her head down, but it's almost like puppet theater. I mean, this is a woman who is stone cold. At times you would expect her to have some emotion, like when her father was breaking down on the stand yesterday, when Roy Kronk, their witness, is talking about putting his meter stick in her little baby's skull. Nothing, except almost when it's on cue, like with the bizarre testimony of her brother when he's crying about not knowing she's pregnant. It just, I hope the jury is watching that. So you don't know what to believe in watching her reactions. Well, today in the courtroom, very bizarre development. A courtroom observer stood up and flicked the bird at the judge and was arrested and thrown in jail for 6 days. Roland.
You recognize the individual contained therein on that photograph, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and who is it?
This is me.
And what is that symbol that you are projecting with your fingers?
Using my middle finger, and I am sorry.
Okay, and what does that mean, sir?
To use the F word to someone.
And who were you extending the finger to, sir?
Mr. Ashton.
Young man, do you realize that the taxpayers of the state of Florida has expended a great deal of money in putting on this trial, and that your actions may have jeopardized or could have jeopardized all of the work that the attorneys have done in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
I will sentence you to 6 days in Orange County Jail, impose a fine of $400.
That's what you call a punishment and a deterrent to future behavior like this.
That's
Arthur,
harsh.
if this trial weren't a three-ring circus before then, today certainly crossed the line.
I mean, look, the kid is 100% wrong. It's on tape. There's no issue what he was trying to do. And the point that the judge makes is he could throw the whole trial and through a mistrial and redo all this $500,000. That's a big problem. But 6 days, I mean, what I'm hoping is 6 days usually means you do 4 days. He went in today, which would mean he'd be out on Monday, which is a holiday, so that means they won't release him on a holiday, so they'll probably release him tomorrow. So hopefully the kid's just doing an overnight in jail and he's paying a $400 fine.
Well, this Casey Anthony trial to be continued tomorrow. The prosecution picks up its rebuttal of the defense closing. Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi and Arthur Aidala, thank you so much.
Thank you,
guys.
Monica. Have a great weekend.
You too. All right, don't go anywhere because the Great American Panel is next.